Good morning, all of you. Today, we are going to start the fifth unit. The topic is inflation and its impact. It is coming under macroeconomic environment. Before starting the inflation and its impact, first we should know what is macro environment is. In that macro environmental, we are having one topic called economic environment. In that economic environment, we are going to study about the inflation and its impact. There are six macro environments, which are demographic environment, economic environment, political environment, ecological environment, socio-cultural environment, and finally the technological forces. Out of six, what we are going to discuss is the economic environment, that too macroeconomic environment. The scope of macroeconomic environment consists of inflation, unemployment, interest rate, and economic growth. Out of these four, today we are going to study about the inflation. There are many definitions are there. I have given four different definition which give better idea about the inflation. Some of the popular definition of inflation given in different management gurus. The first one is Carlburn. According to him, he made a very clear statement about the inflation. Too much of money chasing too few goods. That is, the number of products will be less, money is more, then it is called inflation. One more definition is there, that is Perkins and Baird. According to them, the inflation is an upward movement in the average level of prices. Its opposite is deflation, a downward movement in the average level of prices. The boundary between the inflation and the deflation is the price stability. So this definition gives better idea than before, because the first definition says about the amount of money and amount of physical products. In this, we have given two different extreme. One is inflation, another is deflation. In this in between, we have to maintain the price stability. When price is going up, it is inflation. When price is coming up, it is deflation. The third definition by Samuelson, according to them, inflation is a rise in the general price level. According to him, nothing but when the price level is increasing, it's nothing but the inflationary situation. But the best definition that we have to take is Peterson, because the word inflation in the broadest possible sense refers to any increase in general price level which is sustained and non-seasonal in character. We made a clear statement that there will be some general price level and it will not get disturbed. It is not seasonal. It is because of the economic indicators changes, that changes have induced some rise in price, not only just rise in price, it is in a general price level. So these four definition is considered as best definition among the list of definitions. So that's why I have given these four. I will repeat again. According to Colburn, it is too much of money chasing too few goods. Perkins and Baird said inflation is an upward movement in the general price level and is opposite to the deflation. It is a downward movement of the average price level. So what is price stability? The boundary between the inflation and deflation. This is what the Perkins have given. According to Samuelson, inflation is a rise of general price level, and Peterson have made a clear statement: any increase in a general price level which is sustained and non-seasonal in the character. So these are some of the definition given by different management gurus. Now let me go to the classification of inflation. There are broadly classified into two categories on the basis of cost and on the basis of speed or intensity. On the basis of cost, there are five different inflation. One is called currency inflation. The second one is credit inflation. The third one is deficit induced inflation. The fourth one is demand pull inflation. The fifth one is cost push inflation. Out of these five, the last two is more important. You can expect a section A question. The currency inflation is nothing but this type of inflation is caused by printing the currency notes. When you make more currency notes, this kind of this type of inflation will be rising. The second one is credit inflation. Being a profit-making institution, the commercial bank sanction more loans and advances to the public. Then the economy will be pumped with more currency, which may create some inflationary situation. That inflation we used to call it as a credit inflation. Such credit expansion leads to a rise in price level because the public may have more money because of the loan advances sanctioned by the financial institution. So the first type is printing more currency. It may create inflation. That is called currency inflation. Giving more loans and advances is credit inflation. Apart from these two, there is one more inflation. We used to call it as deficit-induced inflation. The budget of the government reflects the deficit when the expenditure exceeds the revenue. To meet this gap, the government may ask the central bank to print additional money. Since the pumping of additional money is required to meet the budget deficit, any price rise may be called deficit induced inflation. That is, this is purposely we are doing. It's an induced one. Why? Because when we frame a budget, we are making a list of revenues and list of expenditure. When expenditure is exceed, then it is called deficit budget. In order to reconcile these two, the central bank will print notes for sake of government instruction. So this kind of inflation, we used to call it as deficit induced inflation. These are the common things that happen. But apart from that, there are two macroeconomic factors, which is called demand and the cost. If any inflation is induced by demand, then it is demand pull inflation. Because of the cost of the production, then any inflation, then it is called cost push inflation. These two are important compared to other three. An increase in aggregate demand over available output lead to a rise in a price level. Such inflation, we used to call it as demand pull inflation. We may shortly call it as DPI. But why does aggregate demand rises? The classical economists attribute this rise of aggregate demand to money supply. If the money supply of the economy exceeds the available goods of services, definitely the demand inflation may appear. It has been described by Goldman as situation too much of money chasing too few goods. So that particular definition meant for the demand pull inflation. Here, money supply is more, number of products is less. Because of that, there will be heavy demand. Because of that heavy demand, keep on prices increasing. This is called demand pull inflation. The another type we used to call it as a cost push inflation. This is the inflation in economy may arise from overall increase in cost of production. When cost of production is increasing, there will be some inflation situation. That particular inflation we used to call it as cost push inflation. This type of inflation is known because of the raw material costs, wages paid, overhead costs, all these things is keep on increasing. Because of that, the total cost of production is increasing. Because of that total cost of production is increased, there will be a increase in the general price level. This particular type we used to call it as CPI, that is cost push inflation. Most of the time, this particular inflation is market determined, because higher the wage means high cost of production. Prices of the commodity will definitely increase. People are keeping having more wage, so they will have more money. Why it has happened? This particular wage is calculated in the cost of production also. Why? Because their expenditure will be with material costs, labor costs, and overhead costs is a total of these three only, the cost of production. Because of increase in the cost of production, there will be inflation situation. That type of inflation we used to call it as cost push inflation. This is the first type based on the cost. The second one is based on the speed or intensity. There are four different, depending upon a percentage of inflation situation, we used to call it as. Suppose it is only 2% or 3%, then this type of inflation we used to call it as mild inflation or creeping inflation. If the speed of upward thrust of price is slow, but smaller than 3 to 4%, then we used to call it as creeping inflation. What speed of annual price is the creeping one as not stated by the economists, because it is only a vague statement. How it is it is not possible to say exactly, but they said suppose the inflation rate is around 2 to 3%, then this type of inflation we used to call it as creeping inflation. Here the annual rise in price will be taken into account. If a rate of price increase gave this level, it is considered helpful for the economy for the development, because when inflation is only 2 to 3% means the economy is growing. Above this only, then we have to take some measures to mitigate, or anti-inflation measure has to be taken. The first type based on the intensity is creeping inflation. It is otherwise called it is mild inflation. The second one is the walking inflation. When the annual price increase more than 3 and in between 3 to 4%, then it is not creeping, it is walking inflation. When the mild inflation is allowed to found, then the walking inflation will appear. These two types of inflation may be described as moderate inflation. This inflation is good for the economy. One digit inflation is called moderate inflation. Even up to 7 to 8%, we used to call it as moderate only. But when it is less than 4, it is good for economy. More than 4 means then we have to prepare ourselves to mitigate the inflation. Otherwise, it will move to the next higher level, which may give adverse effect to the economy. So what economists are suggesting, the moderate inflation should be maintained. The third one is called galloping and hyperinflation. The walking inflation may be converted into running inflation. This running inflation is a very dangerous one. Why? Because it is not controlled. Ultimately, it will convert to the galloping and hyperinflation. That is more than 4 means then we have to take some measure, failing which we will reach the hyperinflation. This hyperinflation definitely adverse to the economy. Sometimes it may reach to 100 to 200%. In Germany, it was happened. It is called hyperinflation. Economy will collapse. The last one, what we are saying is the government reaction to the inflation. Based on these 4 type of inflation, the government purposely may create anti-inflation situation or deflation situation, or it may induce the inflation. Because of that, if anything has happened, then it is government reaction to that particular is a government inflation. The inflation may be open or suppressed because of anti-inflationary policy pursued by the government. If the inflation may not be embarrassing one, for instance, when the inflation is moving 7 to 8%, the government will try to reduce the interest rate, and they used to get back as a deposit. Suppose it is less than 1, they will advance loan, and they will give other borrowing, and other thing will be encouraged. Because of that, they will induce the inflation. So based on the inflationary rate, the government may induce or reduce the inflation rate. This type is based on the government is trying to decide what is the speed of inflation or what is the intensity of the inflation. Then relating to this particular thing, there is one concept we used to call it that Phillips curve. This Phillips curve connect inflation and unemployment. This particular concept is very useful for the economy to apply in order to induce inflation as well as measure as an anti-inflationary method. This particular concept was given by William Philip, and he published one article in 1958 called Econometrica. The title of the article is a relation between unemployment and rate of change of money wages rate in the United Kingdom. He take the period from 1957 to 61, and he just projected what will be the inflation in the next 3 years. So this article is considered to be the best article, and people have started giving a new concept called Phillips curve. That Phillips curve gives a better idea to control the inflation or induce the inflation. So in 1960, Paul Samuelson and Robert Serr also used this particular Phillips curve and explained a more number of economic indicators. And this particular concept, Phillips curve, tried to relate the inflation and unemployment. Because of this 2 economic indicator, every government follows the Phillips curve. Let me explain the Phillips curve. See, the unemployment rate is measured in the x-axis and inflation rate is measured in the y-axis. The first blue curve is called initial short-run Phillips curve, and the second one is called new short-run Phillips curve. Why? Because the government is inducing or government is controlling. Because of that, there is a change. In the diagram, the long-run Phillips curve is a vertical red line. So everybody want to achieve that particular red line only. That Nehru theory says that when unemployment rate is defined in this line, the inflation will be stable. However, in the short run, policymaker will face the inflation unemployment rate and trade-off marked by the initial short run Phillips curve. Initially, when there is some inflation is there, the business people will find difficult because of the fluctuation in the inflation rate. For that, what the government is doing, they will recommend for the long run Phillips curve. It is vertical today, so there will be a particular employment level. Based on that, the government and the economic policy will be implemented. Here there are 2 points, A and B. That particular area, it's an expansionary of the policy. However, that particular theory exploit the short-term trade-off because we cannot take short-term decision. Minimum of 3 to 5 years when we project. Then if we take some business decision, definitely it will be successful. That is why this Phillips curve gains its importance. And once we start connecting the inflation rate and unemployment rate, we can shift the short-term Phillips curve from lower level to higher level, and we can achieve the long-run Phillips curve, which is vertical line perpendicular to the unemployment level. That natural rate of unemployment will be accepted as a disturbance term, and we can apply all statistical tools in the business. That is why Phillips curve gains its importance. So what we have to write when Phillips curve, first you should write what is Phillips curve is. So for that you should mention the William Phillips name and article name and published that particular journal and who are all supported that. After that, what is the natural rate of unemployment, how the short-term inflation and long-term inflation are connected. In this, we have to introduce a new concept called stagflation. Stagflation in the sense there is no change in the inflation. A particular 3% means we have to maintain 3% for the next 3 years. Then it is called so natural rate of unemployment will be taken into account, and inflation will be measured in that. When we are using this particular tool, we can take a better decision in a business. With this, I'm winding the class. In the next class, we can see the unemployment and its impact. Thank you. Thank you very much.